Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Of course, is the Friday edition. Now, you know how we do it on Fridays. We try as much as possible to keep it on a low key and just, enjoy life as it comes. It's still a new year, so at least everything should still... We never begin rush. So let's just take it as it is. One of our guests is here in the studio this morning. He's a man of many parts. He's a comedian, he's an actor, he's the father of stand-up comedy in Nigeria. And of course, a lot of people know him and they know his personality. And of course, when you mention the name Ali Baba, some will ask you, does he still do comedy? Okay, he will tell us all about that on the program today as we took a look at diversification of skills and talent in the creative industry. Good morning, Ali Baba.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you too. You had a show.
Happy New Year to the ladies as well.
To the ladies as well, okay. You had a show on the 1st of January. How was it?
It was tasking, especially in these economic climes. But somehow, what works for you could be when something is wrong somewhere, then works for you. So a lot of people didn't travel. Yeah, especially people who used to migrate to the east.
I like the word migrate to the east.
Because of insecurity or one thing or the other, a lot of people didn't travel. In fact, there was a lady who attended, said that she thought about it, that instead of buy tickets to travel, to fly, 250 for him, 250 for the wife, to go. And then when they're coming back, another 250. So that would be
That's about $1 million.
And they have not spent money in the village. They would rather stay in Lagos, send them 250 in the village.
And then use the 750.
And so they attended my event.
Okay.
So I benefited from that.
Right.
And the other thing is the show, we introduced something else and we put an end to, we brought a closure to the show where spontaneity, where I give out a car to a young comedian every year. We've done 10 cars, and this was supposed to be the 11th car. Okay. But nobody won it because I was very strict. I said, we're not pandering to mediocrity. Okay. You either have it or
you don't.
Like Wike says, if he didn't day,
he no day.
If he didn't day, he didn't day.
Right.
Then we then introduced a new thing. I don't know if you've heard them. If you go to weddings these days, you see them hype men. You know? Yeah. They know how to charge up the audience. They know how to get people dancing, know how to fill up the blanks.
The energy.
The energy, exactly.
Right.
They charge up the energy in the hall. And it's growing so well that I got a shocker. I was paid for an event, nearly 10. And the person that did the hype was paid about 5. I was like, half my fee. I said, since when did these guys? They said, well, just like when you came. So
it's not a profession on its own.
Exactly. And you then have some leading lights in that place, like what's his name, Dotun, D-O to the T-U-N. Okay. There's so many of them that are in the business now. There's a guy called Jimmy who works with D'banj. Okay. There are quite a lot of people, and so you go to an event, you see after the wedding they do an after party, right? And at the after party, they are the life of the party, right? So the life of the party. Even when you're sitting down and you hear. But it's okay.
And they work hand in hand with the DJ.
Exactly. And they do that, baby David. And you are like, even when you don't want to go anywhere. You will follow me. And so they are the life of the party. And it's become a profession that is earning good money for them. And so we thought of bringing that element into January 1st. And so that happened. Okay. We also then tried something because we've been supporting a lot of creativity, people in the sector, which was started by the Office of the Vice President. And the photograph of the year at that event won 3 million naira.
So the picture was taken at that event?
At that event. The person took the picture at that event. And it was such a unique technique that the guy did. He took a picture of the stage and put his phone under the camera to reflect the stage. Wow. In fact, it was when the guy came and told us that
what it was. You didn't understand.
We were just like, this picture is beautiful. The guy said, well, you see the reflection? We said, yes, reflection, maybe like a
light or something.
Wow.
Wow.
You know? And then now for spontaneity, you have to pick a topic.
Okay.
And make it.
And then walk around it. Okay.
So if you pick like a mug, you have to do a joke about the mug. If you pick a pen, you have to pick a mic. Table, desk, anything.
Something new, something.
That's why you have to be spontaneous.
Right.
So the second picture, the picture that came second, was a hand going into the bowl to pick a topic.
Oh wow!
It was amazing. And then we also needed for the photographers to capture people who were laughing, 2 or 3 people laughing. A guy captured like 6 people with all their 32 in different stages of
the show. Wow.
All lanusile, the way they put it in Yoruba. You know, so it was a great show. The attendance, but you see, there's something with Lagos that I still don't understand. The people who buy the regular, the 100K ticket, 50K ticket, come to the event early. The people who pay 5 million, they don't come, and they sit in front. So the whole of the
attention is actually there.
And it's empty till they begin to come, and they trickle in around like 10, 11.
When the show had...
No, because you can't even start the show
without them.
Without
because
some
they are
of
more
them.
or less like the VIPs.
They're the ones that actually sponsor the show, considering what they pay. It's like people in business class.
You delayed the show for them.
You delayed the flight.
You know, sometimes people don't know that some flights are delayed because of VIPs.
Yes, they have not
you know, they'll just tell you,
we're doing a check.
Who is in near Sheraton traffic. And when the man comes, the man will enter.
They all check.
Yeah, you know. So it was a great show. And we also did something. We called children of 10 years, because January 1st is celebrating 10 years. And so we asked for children who were 10 as well to come up. So 3 children came up, and they all got 100K each.
Wow. Okay.
Now, if you know what January 1st is, it's an expression of the total creative industry. Right. So from the DJ, the interior decorators, the fashion designers, every January 1st, you see people who come out in their best, because it's a New Year day. They look their best because they want to.
They want to start the year on a beautiful note.
But what I don't understand is couples that wear and co. Renewal of what?
Starting the year on a lovely note. On an anchor note.
On a lovely.
I saw like 6 couples. I was like, are you coming from a...
Owambe.
Owambe. Is this Ashwebi? I said, no, Phil, we do it every year. We've been married for 15 years. They have...
It's a tradition for them.
Or could it be January 1st is their anniversary, wedding anniversary?
No, they and then there's one, the man always comes, sits on a particular table. So this year, apparently his favorite color is red. So we swapped for security reasons, you have to swap all these things so that somebody...
Just to be sure that...
Exactly. Right. And the man came. After a while, he went outside. I said, what happened? He said he couldn't laugh anymore. His jaws, he was tired.
Tired of laughing.
He was tired. Now, people were having so much fun. The conversations were going out. And people were making... So there was a guy on the red carpet that was asking people for New Year resolution. And one man said his New Year resolution is to jackpot.
It's a goal. He wants to jackpot.
They asked him, what does he do? He said he works with PHCN. With Eco
Disco.
I will want to jackpot. I will want to jackpot.
So they asked, he said, but what he said, if you know the causes.
The causes, yes. Oh my goodness. Exactly.
So he wants to run away from the causes.
He said, even when National Grid drops,
it is them.
It is.
That's true.
Changed name. We have changed name.
NEPA is still a cause.
It's still NEPA. He said they've changed name to PHCN.
To Eco Disco. No, NEPA resonates. NEPA resonates.
So it was a great outing. It was a great.
So, Alibaba, if you take a look at January 1 and then today's topic, skills, talent in the creative space, you'll agree that Nigeria is blessed with multitude of talent, skills, and daily people are still tapping. People are still evolving. What is the greatest challenge that you see hindering the success story in these individuals? Okay,
so first thing is a lot of them, the failure to launch for a lot of them is lack of education. The inability to read, write, and comprehend. Right. It's a big problem. It's a big issue. Sometimes you find, you know, back in the day, I don't know whether they still do it now. If your hand doesn't touch your ear,
you can't start primary school.
And this child becomes 6. What if the child had, if the body is not proportionately...
It's a small frame.
So the child will get to 7, 8.
And still can't touch.
The boy will now...
and bend.
But you see, the thing is, the currency for communication in Nigeria is English language. I've not seen a textbook of physics in Yoruba. There's no textbook in economics in Ibira. Right. You don't. So the thing is, you have to either learn from the street, from school, or somehow so you can communicate. Right. If you find it, if you look at it properly, you will see that the people you relate with most. Now we're speaking, we're talking, we're having a conversation. The conversation is going on now because we can speak.
And then we can understand.
We can understand ourselves. Right. So if I were to speak Urobo to you, you will not understand which was the problem during slave trade. They just bundled people, the Zulus, the Chantis, the Igala, Kalabari, bundled everybody into, and then you shipped them out. And when they got to the farmlands where they were supposed to go and work on sugarcane, because sugarcane was the reason for most of the slave trades at the time, they couldn't understand themselves. So what did they do? They had to learn the white man's language.
So they could communicate.
They could communicate. So it was broken English. It was dive English. But because they had to communicate, master said, come, you come, you go,
you sit.
You hungry, you vex, or something like that. But now you see, that language helped a lot of them to become human. Because humanity is driven by communication. So sometimes hand signal, because we like to make sure that the words we're saying have weight. You understand? So, one of the things hindering the creative industry or people in the creative industry from achieving the greatness that they have as their potential is because they fail to launch and they fail to spring out. You find a lady, great seamstress, that's tailor. Right. She can make clothes, but she's limited in that space. Do you know we're on a live TV program?
Yes, I know. How are you?
But you are supposed to come after me now.
I'm going there. You see, Alibaba, it's a genius. I PhD on him.
Wow.
You're welcome.
But when he came to interview me for the PhD, it was like I was under investigation. I said, ask you. Is it not academic? He said, jam down.
He needed to be sure that you were.
I did my first show as so and so. I can't just.
So, did you have receipts to show them?
But say why he will call me after like 2.
Trying to confirm that I will not put record that is not defendable.
Okay, I'm sure that you can now see, what we have here on the program today. We need to quickly take a short break, and then we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Well, the man who walked into the studio, I'm sure he's one man that we all know. And of course, Ali Baba wasn't sure whether or not. He knew he was coming, but he thought it was going to come after him. But when he walked into the studio, he said, what's going on here? It's our pleasure this morning to welcome the man everybody calls Simply Saka.
I don't vote.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. It's a pleasure to have you here on the program. Of course, he's also a man of many parts. He's a lecturer, he's an actor, he's a comedian as well.
Yes.
Yes, he's a comedian as well. And of course, yes, he's also a producer. You produce as well. So you see these two men that we have here this morning. We're lucky to have both of them in the studio this morning. But let's quickly switch to Ali Baba was completing, let him drop his thoughts on that, and then we'll come to you. I know you were talking about lack of education.
Sure.
And that is one of the reasons why a lot of people have failed to launch.
Yes.
But is it just about education? And then education again itself is subjective. Is it about going to school or, just completely having a grasp of the sector?
When religion was introduced to Nigeria, the people who brought religion knew that the best way to get it to people was through reading and writing. And they started interpreting the Bible in different languages. We started with Abak Macaulay,
right?
And when they then got your Yoruba. And then the Bible Society, they call them. Yeah. They now made sure that they had it in different languages. Now, the reason they did that is that so that people could then imbibe and embrace the religion
in their own language.
Now, what do you have that is a text that preserves the language? Most languages disappear when it's not preserved. Because nobody wants to learn a language that you don't have a text that you can read. Right. So that then is the reason that most people need to learn to read and write. Even there are this series of books called IT for Dummies, PR for Dummies. Yeah. Those kind of books are also necessary. Forget the oxymoron that you are learning and they still call you dummy. Right. But it is because those texts help you become professional, help you deepen your knowledge on anything that you do. So you find that all of these are absent. And the reason it is absent is because the people who were there before us do not know the reason for education properly. Right. The military messed a lot of our educational sector up. Because when they came in, a lot of them became generals and also without education. And when they took over and started ruling this country, they didn't see the reason
to develop that sector.
Look at Jakonde, who was a teacher. When he came in, see how many schools that he built. Right. There were some schools that even had morning and afternoon session, just so that it could accommodate more students. Right. And the schools then had complete 360 educational facilities. There's no school that didn't have a field. Yeah, there's so you could sports. Didn't have a lab. Right. There's a school that didn't have a library. These days, you have schools that when they want to do their inter-house sports, they go to another school. It was a template because they knew developing the mind was part of developing the society. Right. So that is the problem. Many people who are vulcanizers now do not know that an alloy wheel cannot be treated like a metal ring. Sometimes you take your alloy ring to a vulcanizer that is illiterate. He'll put one big iron and go bass. You are like, hey. Don't destroy that. He said, we want to fix it. But you know that with an alloy ring, you need to use something more advanced to remove the tire, the tube. But those are the things. Just because they don't know. Exactly. And once your people can't read and write, it's hard for them to even comprehend your policies. True. A child that can, I did one small experiment back in 2003. My daughter was just about 5. So children came to play. And when the children came to play, I saw that the ones that came from my cousins that came from Ajikule, gravitated towards the TV and the snooker and all sorts. Not many of them went towards the piano. Because you have to learn that.
Yeah.
They were playing football, even when they were playing the PlayStation, not many of them gravitated towards that.
Right. Because they took the techniques, right.
So people are limited. It is the same thing that happens in the North, and no apologies. You find that once you don't have education, your aspirations are limited.
Right.
And so some politicians feel, let's keep it that way.
So that we won't be questioned.
We don't have to provide the things that
they don't
meet
know.
their aspirations.
Okay.
So once you can limit the aspirations, then you are good, you're safe.
Adebimpe and Joy?
Yes, I just want to ask another question about that January 1st show. I'm wondering, why did you choose January 1? For me, today I don't want to go anywhere.
Okay, so January 1st concept has been a concept that I pushed from 2010. Okay. That 2010, I realized that a lot of people come to my house. Plenty of celebrities come to my house on January 1st. We'll kill one goat, we'll barbecue the goat, we'll do local fowl. You know the local fowl? The one that gives the mouth enough exercise. It's not the one that, you know.
It's not agric.
The agric one, you have removed. The one that you hold.
You very well.
Okay, so we have that kind of party. We bring, have you eaten edible worm before?
Edible worm.
You know the edible worm they sell in the south now?
Yeah, I think I've seen it before. I've never had it.
You must have it.
The one you must.
I
don't eat it, but it's very sweet.
So how you don't eat it?
He said he doesn't eat it, but it's
how
very
do you
sweet.
know
How
it's
do you know it's sweet?
It's sweet because I saw people enjoying when they eat.
And you tried it?
No.
Which kind of judgment is this one?
It's an academic person. So now, all of that just happened. And so this is from like 1998. People just hang around my house. And then in 2010, I went to meet the owners of, there was this hall then called Ocean View.
Right.
I went, I said I want to, which is a co-hotel. They were like, no, we don't do anything in October 1st and January 1st. So we left it. By 2012, it was growing on me that we should have one show January 1st, because the people that come to us, we get a DJ, we get some dancers, sometimes we get magicians to come and I said,
so it was more like, it was a mini show.
Yes, I said, but this kind of thing, we can make it really big. And everybody, except for my friend, who's dead now, I think he will know him, called the Pharaoh Zako. He's a lawyer. The Pharaoh Zako said, the thing go walk, But now how you go promote him? But if you do it, you run him, you know? So, 2013, I went to Eco Hotel. Eco Hotel told me blankly, Ali, we don't work on the 1st.
January 1st.
So I said, okay, this is what I'll do. Next year, which is 2014, going towards 2015, I'll come and pay for the hall. At least you will collect money for the hall. So I went, and they said, then it was 25 million. Now it's 75.
Wow.
So I went. I told them, I said, I want to use this hall. So I said, I brought the check for this, and I'll pay for 5 years.
Up front.
And you know they are Lebanese people.
Money. Business.
They are the Igbos of the
Middle East. Is they bring gifts?
They knew I was serious, so we paid. It was now like content. So we decided to honor people who had done something for the first time. First female Chief Justice of the Federation, first female pilot, first female aeronautic engineer, first female professor. So we honored Alele
Grace Alele Williams.
First Justice of the High Court. I don't remember her name now. And so when we put all of that together, we're like, first Nobel laureate, first professor of physics. So we're putting all those things together, that's okay. And then we then do a review of the year. Now, all the things that had happened all through the year, we then get the comedians to review. And then we then said, okay, we'll honor people who have first class. So that year,
it was a fest.
If you had first class, you come that year, and then we'll give you 1 million naira so that you can then use it to. I don't think 1 million naira will give you masters now.
Now,
when we started,
at the 10 years
a lot of
ago.
money. And then we also thought, okay, anyone who was celebrating their birthday on the 1st of January, we also then honor them. But you see, after we drew up all of this, it then became very clear that we had a show in our hands.
Right.
Execution was now the honor. And then we said, okay, we'll get a band. We'll then get the pastor to come pray us into the year. We'll get people to just come and we'll give awards to people. And then we then thought, okay, IVF. There's some people who are looking for a child to be the firstborn. So we can sponsor that as well. So we did IVF for about like 10 people.
Wow.
When we started. Of the 10, we then made sure that there was a criteria that would help everybody. If you are below 40, you can't apply. So we wanted to make sure that the people whose biological clock were ticking faster
would get the right.
If you come and see Nigerians, people were declaring age. You want to have a child under false pretense.
And you're lying again.
And you're lying.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's why God never did. No, but we were like, no, so you must be 45
and above.
And of the 10, 5 got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
3 carried to 10. The other 2 lost. But it was really very expensive.
True.
You know, it ate into our costs. And then sponsors were weary. Because
it was a first one, right.
But subsequently, we then got some sponsors who then agreed to join
be part
us
of
because they came. Look, let me tell you this story. Aliko Dangote, Femi Otedola, they normally hang out on January 1st. Sometimes they go on their boats, get their friends. So we went to meet Aliko. We said, Alhaji, buy this thing. You know, he's not Christian. So I said, New Year is not.
It's not a Christian thing, right?
So he said, okay, he will buy 2 tables and distributed all
the 2 tables
to his friends because he didn't want to come. So on that day, he was at home and wondering. Normally, these guys should have shown up.
So he was lonely.
So Aliko will call his friends and say, why they go there? Why so much fun? Then he was even close to the hotel.
Well, now me give una these tickets now.
This ticket, so he now called. I said, you have to buy another table. You don't have tickets. He said, but I bought. I said,
you've distributed.
So Femi called him and said, I'm coming to your place. And I said, I'm going to the hotel. So what happened? He said, there's a show. Femi said, the table I bought, I gave it. So they all showed up. Right. And when they got there, they saw captains of industry. So and those are the ones who could pay. Then we started with our table for 2.5. Now we sell it for 5. But you see, the captains of industry, a lot of them realized that they had not, because
they had not been
in that
for
kind
the
of
year.
Exactly.
They just needed to also just let.
So it was the beginning was, it had an insight and people could see
the prospects.
Right. And it turned out well. So after that first one, everybody bought into it. But it's another thing like the topic that we're discussing, you know, expanding, diversifying, everything. So I've been doing MCing job, I've been a comedian, I've acted, but this was how we could then expand my own frontiers as well.
Okay. Sorry, Joy, I need to quickly hold your thoughts. When we come back, of course, your question is to Hafiz Oyitoro. Okay, I think we have a little bit of audio challenge. Let's quickly fix this and we'll be right back.